Hey guys, and welcome to my guide for Primordius 10-man, or normal on the live service in Throne of the Thunder King. So what you want to do is, you'll see where we pulled Primordius. He came from the side where those pools are spawning, or where those lava pools are, and he teleports around random ones. He'll go underneath, you'll see him go under the lava when you first walk into the room, and he'll just bounce around the room to each one of those different pools that you see at the end of the room. And so what you want to do is you want to pick him up, and for this fight you'll want probably 3 healers, because at the end it does start to get a bit intensive with all the damage that he's putting out, with all the adds that are going into him and making him evolve. So you basically want to take 3 healers for this. So your tanks will obviously pick up the boss, and there is a stacking debuff. This stacking debuff is called Malformed Blood. Basically, it inflicts 10,000 H damage every 3 seconds, and it causes the player's attacks to affect the adds. And it basically, every time you white damage the adds, you do 20,000 H damage on top of whatever you're doing already. And this effect basically stacks. And what me and my other tank did, we swapped at about 4 to 5 stacks, and this seemed to be like a manageable level. The boss doesn't seem to hit too hard, and considering how overtuned most of the bosses are in the moment in Throne of the Thunder King, actually some of them have been nerfed today on the 12th, or the 11th I think they were nerfed. This boss seems to be pretty good. It seemed to be like a level that we should be at, the sort of level that you'd expect the difficulty for this boss. It didn't seem that difficult, but I think for a normal fight it shouldn't seem too difficult. It should seem like somewhat punishing, but we didn't seem to struggle that much with it, but the mechanics seem to be pretty easy. Basically, you pick up the boss, you kill the adds around it, and you don't let the adds, well, you try to make sure that you kill as many of the globules as possible, because they make him evolve, and I'll get to that in a second. The evolution, basically when Primordius is mutated, his damage is increased by 10%, and it grants him a new mutation every time he evolves, basically. And Primordius can only have 3 mutations at any time, so any of his abilities that he gains, he can only have them all at a time. So if he has 3 abilities already, when he gains another ability, he replaces the first ability that he gained. The abilities are as follows. Ventral sacs. Ventral sacs are just basically sacs that are located around Primordius's frill, which periodically erupt, and they inflict 20,000 H damage to all players every 1 second. Gas bladder. A volatile mutation that allows Primordius to spray caustic gas, inflicting 4,050,000 H damage, which splits evenly between everyone within the 18-yard that he puts around, 18-yard circle that he puts around himself. And you want everyone to stack in this because it's like a cleave effect. It hits everyone in that zone, and obviously it splits the damage, so everyone will need to stand in that for that one. Acidic spines. Primordius basically fires acidic spines every 5 seconds, which inflict 150,000 H damage to all players within 5 yards of the target. Pathogen glands. This allows Primordius to spray a volatile pathogen at the player, which inflicts 60,000 H damage to an enemy player every 1 second, and it summons a living fluid. The living fluid are the purple adds. Sorry, they're the red adds. The red adds. And these are the ones that you want to kill. He also gains a metabolic boost, and this is basically a hyperactive metabolism, which allows Primordius to use abilities more often and increases his attack speed by 50%. And his last ability is erupting pustules, which basically just fills these balls, these pustules, which erupt every 5 seconds, and they shower the area with corrosive blood that inflicts 300,000 H damage within 3 yards of the impact. Also, what you want to do is you want to have, as you can see on our raid, we've set up these marks, and at the beginning you want to have like your ranged further away from the boss, and obviously your melee, which is what the star and this cross, which is where we put our melee, and we tank the boss in the middle. You want to have your DPS kill as many of the red adds as they possibly can, because you get this stacking buff, and once you get to 5 stacks of this buff, when you stand in the pools that they spawn or leave behind, you get a buff, and because the fight basically he takes 75% reduced damage from players, but once you get to the stacks of the 5 stacks of the buff, you then deal normal damage to him. Although there is also a downfall to this. If you stand in more than 5, so if you stand in 5, get mutated, and stand in the 6th puddle, you then start to get debuffs, which can reduce your mastery by like 10%. So if your certain classes aren't really affected by this. There are also the purple stuff on the floor, which you can see is actually moving towards him. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you are not allowing the boss to absorb these, because they grant 10% health. And they also cause him to evolve 1 level, therefore granting him more abilities, and this is obviously what you don't want to do. As you can see now, the fight's starting to pick up and starting to become a bit crazy with the amount of ads that we're getting. At this point, we just sort of decided to bloodlust and just push it and tank the ads, and I just sort of ran around trying to kill as many of the globules as possible. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this fight. So if you guys have any questions, concerns, comments, whatever, then please feel free to ask away, and I'll be happy to answer them for you as quickly as possible. Yeah, cheers guys. I'll leave you with the mumble footage, and I'll leave you guys to it. Cheers. Newcon out.
Buff. I mean buff even.
Purple, I'm moving. Shield all popped.
Okay, I'll leave it. Tell me when shield's off and I'll take it. Taking the bus now?
Yeah, go for it. 5 mil down. Good job.
I've been absolutely useless for like the past fucking
Well,
like
GG.
3 minutes.